have in our backyard here a space for our playground, and we did a lot of research into the different things that we can put around the playground, because if you put grass right up to a playground under swings and in a pathway, the grass gets worn down and dies and has trouble. So we chose to do a pathway of pavers and stone, just so it could be a bit of hardscape and be easy for the kids to run back and forth. It wouldn't hurt the grass. So this pathway that we're going to show you is really simple, really easy to do, and we'll walk through all the steps of how to do it. For materials, you'll need landscape fabric, staples, paver edging spikes, and leveling sand, and then of course the pavers and the pebbles. So the tools you'll need for this project are a good set of gloves, a rake, a hand rake for smaller areas. You'll want both a regular hammer and a rubber hammer, but it's a pretty short list of tools you'll need. So first we ran sprinkler lines where they needed to go, and that's so we could put everything back together and level things out. And then we decided where we wanted these pavers and stone to go and how to separate it out from the grass, and then put edging in everywhere it needed to be. Those were important steps to get us to the point where we can today start putting down the landscape fabric and all the steps for this pathway. So whenever you're putting down landscape fabric with these staples, you're gonna run into rocks. And so I often have to try a few different places to get into a spot where I can get down in through the rocks. So I put staples in about every foot along the edges, and then a few inside the area, just to make sure it's nice and secure. Okay, so we've put the landscape fabric down. The reason we do that is for several reasons. One, it prevents weeds from growing up, but then it's also nice just to have a uniform surface so the sand kind of stays roughly where it is and you're kind of starting from a clean slate. Now we're going to put these edging pieces in. These are really helpful on a long straight pathway, just to keep your pavers straight and then also prevent them from moving over time, because people will be stepping on them and they will move and migrate if you don't secure them in place. Okay, now that we've got the paver edging in place and right where we want it to be, the next step is to put down some leveling sand. We'll basically spread it all along the pathway. And then I have cut a piece of 2x4 just slightly smaller than the distance between the two edges. And I'll be using this to level out the sand so it's nice and level along the pathway. So now that we've got the pathway leveled out with leveling sand, I'm gonna set my first paver here. Do your best to set it down evenly so it lands perfectly flat. Next, you take your rubber mallet. Obviously, you don't want to do this with a normal hammer or you'll crack the paver. And you just go around and hit it. And what this does is it helps the leveling sand move around a little bit underneath the paver and create a more uniform, level surface. That feels really good. It's not rocking or moving. So I feel good about that one. The pavers are in place for the pathway, but just to make sure these are locked in and nice and tight, I'm gonna put pebbles in between each paver so that they won't move around as much within the track while I finish the other work. Okay, we finished our project. It looks beautiful. I'm really happy with how it turned out. So in basically a weekend, you could put something like this together for your yard. It's a really nice, clean look. My kids aren't gonna run inside the house with mud all over their shoes anymore. And we bought everything we needed for this project at Home Depot, either online or in store.